Welcome to the deep dive.
Mm.
This is where we take a whole load of information, cut through it, and really pull out the key stuff you need to know fast.
That's the plan.
So today we're diving into something, well, sounds specific, but it touches on things lots of us face, like big assessments or getting your head around a new area. It's the NEBOSH IGC1 exam.
Right.
We've got a guide to this exam as our source material, and our mission really is to unpack it. What is it? How do you prepare? What's it like on the day?
Yeah, turning something potentially quite technical into, well, something clear and useful.
Exactly. Actionable insights.
And understanding this specific exam, the NEBOSH IGC1, it's obviously crucial if you're thinking of taking it.
Of course.
But it's also, I think, a really interesting look at how these specialized open book type assessments work in the professional world.
Good point. It's a different way of testing knowledge.
It is. So we'll be pulling out practical tips, strategic advice, straight from the source material to give you that clear picture.
Okay, let's do it. Let's pull back the curtain then. Start with the absolute basics. What is the NEBOSH IGC1?
Well, first off, it's not just a random test. It's a formal assessment, part of a bigger certificate course.
Okay, part of a course.
Right. And that course has two main bits. There's the open book exam we're focusing on today.
That's the IG1.
That's the IG1, yes. And then there's a practical assessment, which is separate.
Got it. And the open book exam, the IG1, what does it actually test?
It specifically tests your knowledge from the first 4 parts of the syllabus, what NEBOSH calls elements 1 to 4. That's unit IG1.
So just elements 1 to 4.
Crucially, yes, it does not test the stuff from elements 5 to 11.
That's unit IG2 territory.
Exactly. Unit IG2 covers those later elements, and that's assessed through the practical assignment we mentioned.
Okay, that distinction is really important then. Knowing what's in and what's out for this specific exam.
It's critical for your preparation. You focus your study for the IG1 exam on those foundational safety management principles in elements 1 to 4.
And the IG2 practical. That sounds very different.
It's a completely different kettle of fish. It involves doing a risk assessment like a real one in a workplace.
Wow, okay. Not just sitting at a desk?
Not at all. Different conditions, different skills being tested. It's about applying the knowledge practically.
Makes sense.
And an interesting tip from the sources for preparing, actually for both parts, but especially the written exam.
Yeah.
They really recommend studying and even like setting up your practice runs in the same room you plan to actually take the exam in.
Oh, that's smart. Get comfortable with the environment.
Exactly. It reduces one variable, helps you feel more settled and focused when the clock starts ticking. Familiarity helps.
Totally. We all know how being uncomfortable or distracted just kills concentration. But, okay, let's talk about the format, because this is where it gets, well, pretty unique, right?
It really is interesting. So the core thing, it's an open book exam.
Okay, open book, we've heard of those.
But here's the big one. It's not invigilated.
No supervisor. No one watching.
Nope. You're on your own. It operates on trust, on an honor system.
Wow. And then there's the time.
Ah, yes, the 24-hour window. That's probably the most striking detail for many people.
24 hours to do an exam seems huge.
It does, and you get that whole window to prepare, complete it, and submit it. The sources say this is deliberately designed.
They give you time to think.
Yeah, time to reflect, research properly if you need to, and really detail your answers, not just rush through.
Okay. And one other thing, no choosing questions.
That's right. All questions are compulsory. You have to tackle everything they give you.
Right. So that 24-hour window, this is a really key point, isn't it? It sounds like a marathon.
It sounds like it, but here's the crucial clarification and a common misunderstanding. You are absolutely not expected to work for 24 hours straight.
Okay, that's a relief.
Definitely. NEBOSH is quite clear. The exam itself is designed to take about 4 to 5 hours to complete.
4 to 5 hours, so the 24 hours is
Got it.
flexibility.
Exactly that. It's a strategic advantage. It means you can pick the time of day that works best for you, when you're most alert.
Right. Maybe you're a morning person, maybe you work better later.
Precisely. It lets you schedule breaks, deal with other life commitments.
Kids, pets, deliveries.
You name it. And importantly, it ensures you have enough time for the whole process.
Yeah.
Reading carefully, analyzing, planning your answers, writing them, and then revising before you submit.
So it's about managing that window intelligently, not just filling it.
It's smart time management, not an endurance test, using those peak performance hours.
Got it. That makes a huge difference in how you'd approach it.
Yeah.
So thinking about that approach,
Mm-hmm.
what does this mean for actually getting ready, setting up for success on the day?
Yeah, the practical prep is vital. You don't want silly things throwing you off.
Like what? What do the sources emphasize?
Well, the basics first. Your physical setup. Make sure you can sit comfortably for several hours. Bad posture is a massive distraction.
Uh-huh. Good lighting.
Essential. Avoid eye strain. And a comfortable room temperature, too. Not too hot, not too cold.
Goldilocks zone.
Pretty much. And then, your materials. This sounds obvious, but know exactly where everything is.
Your notes, textbooks, standards.
All of it. Have it within easy reach, maybe even organized beforehand by topic or element. Wasting time hunting for something during the exam is just painful.
Yeah, you really don't want that clock ticking while you're flipping through pages frantically.
Absolutely not. And connecting this to the bigger picture, these details might seem small, but they hugely impact your focus.
Right. What else about focus? Distractions.
Minimizing them is key. The sources actually suggest telling housemates or family about your exam time, maybe even putting a friendly sign on your door.
Haha, like do not disturb. Genius at work.
Something like that. And definitely switch off your phone, turn off the TV, close unnecessary tabs on your computer. Create that bubble for yourself.
Makes sense. What about, like, creature comforts?
So important, too. Have water handy, maybe some snacks. Keep your energy levels up.
And the laptop charger.
Oh, definitely check your computer is charged or plugged in. Imagine it dying halfway through.
Nightmare scenario. What if you can't take it at home? If home is too distracting?
Good question. The advice is clear. Book a quiet room somewhere else if you need to. Make sure it has good light, a power outlet, and crucially reliable internet access.
Planning ahead is everything, it seems.
It really is. Don't leave setup to the last minute.
Okay, so setup sorted. What about the day itself? How does it actually kick off?
Right, the mechanics. You'll get access to the exam paper at 9:00 a.m. British Summer Time.
BST. And
You log into the NEBOSH online platform, and you can download the exam file from there.
that's when the 24 hours starts.
Yeah,
When it becomes available.
precisely. The clock starts ticking from 9:00 a.m. BST, whether you download it immediately or, an hour later. You have until 9:00 a.m. BST the next day to submit.
Got it. And again, reminding ourselves 24 hours available.
But designed for 4 to 5 hours of actual work. This is where, like we said, your preparation really pays off. Having your materials ready lets you get straight into understanding and answering the questions efficiently.
No panic time needed.
Hopefully not. And speaking of efficiency, let's talk word count. This is fascinating, actually.
Oh, yeah. Is there a strict limit?
There is guidance, yes. You're not expected to write more than 3,000 words in total for the whole paper.
3,000. Right.
There is a little leeway, a 10% margin, so you can go up to 3,300 words.
What?
But, and this is crucial, you won't get any extra marks for going over 3,000.
Ah,
And the examiners might actually stop reading after 3,300 words anyway.
wow. So it's really about being concise. Quality over quantity.
Absolutely. It forces you to be relevant, focused, and clear, no rambling. It's actually a great skill to practice distilling information effectively.
True. Very useful professionally.
Totally. So the advice is, use your time wisely within that 4 or 5 hour block. Draft your answers, sure, but leave yourself proper time to review, edit, and make sure you're hitting the key points concisely. Don't write right up to the deadline.
Good advice. Allow for that polishing stage. Okay, let's shift gears a bit to something, well, maybe a bit serious but vital. The rules, especially around academic integrity.
Yes, absolutely crucial for any assessment, but especially an open book, non-invigilated one like this.
So the main thing,
Your work must be your own, 100%.
which means no copying.
No copying content directly from your sources without referencing it properly. That's plagiarism, plain and simple, and it's taken very seriously.
Right, referencing is key if you quote or paraphrase closely.
Absolutely. And because there's no invigilator, the rules on communication are super strict.
Okay.
You cannot talk to anyone else about the assessment while you're doing it. No asking for hints, no discussing questions.
Makes sense. What about getting help with, like, proofreading?
Also, a definite no. You can't ask or even allow someone else to check your work, suggest changes, or help you structure answers. It has to be entirely your own individual effort.
That's quite strict. Even just a quick read over from a friend is out.
Completely out. It undermines the principle that the work submitted is yours alone. NEBOSH is very clear on this.
Okay, good to know the hard lines. Now, thinking about using materials, you said it's open book. Is there a risk of using too much stuff?
That's a brilliant question, and yes, it's a classic potential pitfall, a very common mistake.
Relying too heavily on the books.
Exactly. Or just getting lost in information overload. The temptation is to think, I have access to everything, so I should use everything.
Yeah, I can see that.
But you need to be selective. Only use the materials you actually need to support your answer. This loops back to why preparing and organizing your key resources before the exam is so important.
So you know where your core information is.
Precisely. But here's the real aha moment for many people. You cannot become over-reliant on the materials. The exam is testing your understanding and ability to apply knowledge, not just your ability to find information.
Ah, so the materials support your argument. They don't make it for you.
Perfectly put. They provide evidence, examples, specifics, but the core reasoning, the analysis, the application to the scenario in the question that has to come from you, it's about critical thinking using the resources, not just information retrieval.
That's a really key distinction, using resources as tools, not crutches.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so you navigate all that, you write concisely, you follow the rules.
Yeah.
What does it actually take to pass this IG1 exam? What's the magic number?
The pass mark is set at 45 out of 100, so 45% or more.
45%, okay? And if you don't quite make it...
You score less than 45, you'll get what NEBOSH calls a referral.
Referral, meaning you have to retake it.
Yes, you'll need to resit the exam.
Is there a limit on retakes or a time frame?
There's a time frame connected to the other unit, the practical assessment, IG2. You can resit the IG1 exam anytime within 5 years of passing your IG2 practical assessment.
5 years, okay. That's quite a window.
It is. And within that 5-year window, you can actually resit the IG1 exam as many times as you need to.
Oh, okay. No limit on attempts within the 5 years.
That's right. But remember, the ultimate goal is the full certificate.
Right.
And for that, you absolutely must pass both parts, the IG1 written exam and the IG2 practical assessment. Passing just one isn't enough for the qualification.
Got it. Both are required hurdles. Okay, that makes sense. So let's try and wrap this up then. Recapping our deep dive today on the NEBOSH IGC1. We've seen it's this unique open book, non-invigilated exam. We've stressed using that 24-hour window strategically, not as an endurance test, focusing on maybe 4 to 5 hours of quality work.
Smart work, not just hard work.
Exactly. Then there's the critical importance of setting up your environment properly, managing your time effectively during the exam.
Minimizing distractions, knowing your materials.
And that absolute need for academic integrity.
Yeah.
Doing your own work, referencing properly, no outside help.
Non-negotiable.
And finally, balancing resource use with applying your own knowledge and critical thinking. It's not just about finding answers, but constructing them.
Spot on. Using the materials to support your understanding.
Right.
And, this brings up maybe a final thought, a broader question for you listening.
Yeah.
How do these skills, we've talked about things like really disciplined preparation, thinking critically under pressure, using resources responsibly, but not relying on them entirely. How do those skills translate beyond just this exam?
Into work. Or even just daily life.
Exactly. Think about how you navigate information overload every day, how you solve problems. That ability to effectively use the information available, but filter it, analyze it, and apply your own understanding, that's a massively valuable skill, isn't it?
It really is. Much bigger than just passing one specific exam.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental skill for, well, pretty much everything.
Something to mull over, perhaps.
Definitely food for thought. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope these insights help. Whether you're tackling this NEBOSH exam, another assessment, or just any complex challenge that requires focused work and smart use of information.
Hope it was useful.
Until next time, keep diving deep.